Are you tolerating toxic behavior in your relationship without realizing it? Let's cut straight to it. Some of you are in relationships that are draining you, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and you're not even fully aware of how deep it goes. You've been brushed off, shut down, made to feel too emotional, too needy, too dramatic. But let me ask you something. When did it become normal for you to feel like your feelings don't matter? What if I told you that the little things you keep ignoring, the eye rolls, the subtle put-downs, the cold shoulders, the constant guilt trips, are actually signs of something much deeper? This isn't about someone being in a bad mood. This is about repeated patterns of harm. Behavior that doesn't just hurt, it chips away at your self-worth, one comment at a time. Here's the truth most people don't want to face. Love is not supposed to be painful. Challenging, yes, but not painful, not dehumanizing, not degrading, and not dismissive. In this video, we're going to go deep into the 10 most harmful partner behaviors, things that many people have come to accept as normal when they're anything but. These are red flags, blinking lights, alarms, and if you ignore them, they will eventually break you. Stay with me until the end, because the final behavior we'll talk about is the one most people never recognize until it's too late. By then, they've already lost themselves. Don't let that be you. Why do we stay in unhealthy relationships? Why do we tolerate behaviors we know, deep down, aren't okay? We tell ourselves stories. Everyone has flaws. I'm not perfect either. Relationships are hard. It's just a phase. They had a rough childhood. They're stressed. But behind every excuse is a quiet voice inside you, whispering, "This doesn't feel right." And too often we ignore that voice. We quiet it with rationalizations. We bury it under hope. Hope that it will get better. Hope that if we love them enough, they'll change. Hope that the good moments will outweigh the bad. But the truth is, you can't love someone into treating you better. You can't outgive abuse, and you can't keep setting yourself on fire to keep someone else warm. In this video, I want to help you recognize the behaviors that don't just damage relationships, they damage you. These aren't one-time slip-ups. These are patterns. These are emotional and psychological red flags that, when left unchecked, lead to burnout, anxiety, depression, and even trauma. We're going to go one by one through these behaviors. I'll give you real examples, explain the psychology behind them, and help you understand exactly why they're not okay, even if your partner says they are. Because here's the most important part. It's not just about them. It's about you. About what you're accepting. About the standard you've set for how you're allowed to be treated. Let's raise that standard. Let me tell you a story. Years ago, I was in a relationship where I said "I'm sorry" more times than I said "I love you." I apologized for being hurt, for having emotions, for asking for clarity, for being too quiet, for being too loud, for existing in a way that made him uncomfortable. He never yelled, he never hit me, but he did something worse. He made me question myself, my memory, my intentions, my reality. I remember once I cried because of a comment he made, and instead of comforting me, he looked annoyed, said I was being dramatic, that I was ruining the night. And in that moment, I apologized for crying. Sound familiar? If it does, you're not alone. This video isn't about pointing fingers, it's about shining a light. Because the signs we're about to talk about don't always look like abuse, but they feel like it. They leave invisible bruises, and those are the hardest ones to heal. Sign number 1, constant criticism. Criticism is when someone attacks your character, not your choices. It's the difference between, "Hey, I noticed the dishes weren't done. Can you help with that?" and "You never do anything right." Constant criticism looks like, "You're always so lazy. Why do you talk like that? No one else would put up with you." It's subtle at first. It starts as teasing. "I'm just joking." But over time, the jokes become jabs. The jabs become insults. The insults become your internal dialogue. You start doubting yourself. You second-guess your decisions. You become smaller, not because they asked you to, but because you started believing you had to be less to be loved. Criticism isn't love. It's control disguised as advice. And you deserve better. Sign number 2, controlling behavior. Controlling behavior often looks like love. It looks like protection, concern, care, but it's not. It's fear masked as affection. It sounds like, "Who were you with? Why didn't you text me back right away? I don't like when you hang out with them." And it looks like checking your phone, controlling what you wear, dictating how you spend your time. What's dangerous is how easy it is to mistake control for love, especially if you grew up in a household where control was labeled as care. But real love trusts. It doesn't track. It doesn't isolate. It doesn't make you feel guilty for having a life outside the relationship. Control isn't romantic. It's restrictive. And you are not a possession. You are a person with autonomy, with agency, and with the right to make your own decisions. Sign number 3, dismissing your feelings. Have you ever opened up about something and had it thrown back in your face? Or worse, completely brushed aside? You're overreacting. You're too sensitive. Here we go again. When your partner consistently invalidates your feelings, they're teaching you that your emotional experience is wrong, that what you feel doesn't matter, and that's incredibly damaging. Eventually, you stop speaking up, you bottle everything, and the relationship becomes a place where you're emotionally alone. Your feelings are valid, even if they don't make sense to your partner, even if they're uncomfortable. Real intimacy requires space for both people's emotions, not just the convenient ones. When someone dismisses your emotions, what they're really saying is, "Your pain inconveniences me." That's not love, that's selfishness. Sign number 4, gaslighting. Gaslighting is psychological warfare. It makes you doubt your memory, your instincts, your perception. Let's say you catch them texting someone in a way that crosses your boundaries. You bring it up. They say, "You're paranoid." That didn't happen. You're just insecure. You start to think, maybe I did misunderstand. Maybe I'm imagining things. Maybe I am crazy. This is the goal of gaslighting, to disempower you. It often looks like denying things you clearly remember, twisting words you said to make you the villain, rewriting events so they always look innocent and you always look unstable. The danger here is that once you stop trusting yourself, they don't have to control you anymore. You'll do it for them. If you ever find yourself second-guessing what you know, ask, "Am I being told I'm too emotional every time I bring something up? Do I walk away from conversations more confused than when I started? Am I constantly apologizing even though I didn't do anything wrong?" That's not miscommunication. That's manipulation. Sign number 5, jealousy disguised as love. Who's that guy commenting on your photo? Why did you like that person's post? I just care about you. That's why I get jealous. Nope, that's not love. That's ownership. Jealousy framed as just caring too much is a red flag dressed up in roses. Let's be clear, healthy jealousy exists, but a healthy person takes responsibility for it. Toxic jealousy, however, turns into accusations over nothing, guilt trips for talking to old friends, rage over imagined betrayals. At its worst, it becomes control via insecurity. You start changing your behavior just to avoid fights. The emotional toll? You feel suffocated. You feel like you're always doing something wrong. You begin isolating yourself just to keep them calm. Real love doesn't punish you for having a life. It celebrates your freedom, your joy, your connections, because real love is secure. And secure people don't need to control you to feel safe. Sign number 6, lack of support. You're excited about a promotion. They change the subject. You mention starting a new project. They tell you it's unrealistic. You open up about something that matters, and they respond with a shrug. That's emotional absence, and it's devastating. Love isn't just about what people don't do, it's about what they do. Support means showing interest in your growth, celebrating your wins, big or small, being present for your pain without minimizing it. Without that, Your relationship becomes lonely, even when you're together. You feel unseen, unimportant, like your world only matters when it serves theirs. If your partner can't clap for you, hold space for you, or help carry the emotional weight, you're not in a relationship. You're in a one-person show. Sign number 7. Withholding affection as punishment. They go cold when you disagree. No texts, no hugs, no warmth. You're not being talked to, you're being disciplined. This is emotional punishment, and it's manipulative. Affection becomes conditional. If you behave how they like, you get love. If you push back, you get silence. Over time, this teaches you, don't rock the boat. Don't express needs. Don't upset them, or else you'll be cut off. This is abuse, not a communication tactic. Love should not be given and taken like a paycheck. It should be consistent, safe, and unconditional. Sign number 8. Public humiliation. They make jokes about your insecurities in front of others. They share personal details you trusted them with. They call you names, but only in front of friends. Just teasing. This isn't a sense of humor. This is social control. Because when they humiliate you in public and you stay silent, it sends a message. I can disrespect you, and you'll still sit beside me smiling. And the damage adds up. You stop bringing them around people. You feel anxious in social settings. You become ashamed of being vulnerable, even privately. You deserve a partner who protects your dignity, especially in public, not someone who chips away at your self-worth while hiding behind a laugh. Sign number 9. Stonewalling. You're in the middle of a serious conversation. They walk out. You ask what's wrong, they say nothing and shut down. You want to solve the issue. They give you silence for days. This is stonewalling. And it's emotional abandonment. Stonewalling says, your pain doesn't matter. You're not worth engaging with. If I ignore you long enough, you'll give up. And you do. Because it's exhausting trying to connect with someone who punishes you with absence. Real conflict resolution requires communication, vulnerability, effort. Stonewalling requires none of those things, just power and avoidance. Sign number 10. Repeatedly crossing boundaries. This is the biggest one. The final straw, the ultimate red flag. You say, please don't bring that up again. They do it next week. You say, that's a hard boundary for me. They cross it anyway. This is not misunderstanding. It's a message. Your limits don't matter to me. And when someone shows you that, believe them. Relationships require boundaries to be healthy. Without them, there is no safety, no trust, no respect. If they continue to violate your boundaries after being told clearly and calmly, they are telling you they have no intention of changing, and you are not safe in that relationship. Let's pause and be brutally honest. Of all the behaviors we just walked through, some hurt deeper than others. Not because they're more obvious, but because they're more silent. Gaslighting destroys your grip on reality. You stop trusting your memory. You start thinking, you're the toxic one. And that confusion, it lingers for years. Stonewalling creates emotional starvation. You crave connection, but they withhold it like punishment. It makes you feel invisible, unworthy, powerless. Boundary violations? Those don't just cross a line, they erase it. You start to believe you don't even deserve boundaries. But here's what makes these so destructive. They're often invisible from the outside. You might have friends who say, but they seem so nice. You might even feel guilty for calling it abuse, because there are no bruises. But let me tell you this as clearly as possible. Repeated emotional invalidation is abuse. Psychological control is abuse. Love that makes you question your worth is not love. It's manipulation. You don't need scars to prove you're hurting. The real scars are internal. Anxiety that won't go away. Depression that creeps in without a name. A voice in your head that no longer belongs to you, but to them. And if that hit hard, keep breathing. Because now we're shifting from awareness to action. I want to pause and ask you directly, which of these behaviors hit home for you? Was it the gaslighting, the subtle control, the way they twisted your words until you questioned your own sanity? Drop it in the comments right now. Tell your story, or even just one sentence. Say, "That was me," or "I see it now," because your comment might be the one someone else needs to read. You could help them realize they're not alone, that what they're going through isn't normal, that they're not crazy, that someone out there gets it. And if you've made it out, tell us. What was the moment you knew it was time to go? What helped you walk away? We're not just here for entertainment. This is a space for real stories, real healing, and real support. So take 30 seconds, scroll down, and share something. I'll be reading them, and I know someone else will be too. Here it is, the most important truth of this entire video. If someone repeatedly crosses your boundaries after you've made them clear, they do not respect you. Not loving someone isn't the problem. The problem is staying with someone who doesn't love you in a healthy way. We hold on hoping they'll change. We remember the good days. We tell ourselves, maybe if I just stay patient, if I don't upset them, if I love them harder. But people don't change because we hurt quietly. People change when they choose to. And some people will never choose to treat you better because they benefit from the imbalance. You can't fix what they won't admit. You can't heal in the same place that's wounding you. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Your peace matters. Your self-worth matters. Your future matters. And no relationship is worth losing yourself. Let's take a deep breath. You've just sat through 15 minutes of truth, of hard truths. Let's recap what we've learned. The 10 behaviors you should never tolerate. Constant criticism, controlling behavior, dismissing your feelings, gaslighting, jealousy that is disguised as love, lack of support, withholding affection as punishment, public humiliation, stonewalling, repeated boundary violations. Each one on its own is a red flag. Together, they're a massive warning sign. A glowing billboard saying, "This is not healthy." And if you saw your partner in even a few of these, this isn't about blame. It's about clarity, because awareness is power. Maybe you're not ready to leave. That's okay. But now you know. Now you can set boundaries. Now you can start reconnecting with your voice. Now you can stop calling mistreatment love. You deserve a relationship that listens, a partner who respects you, a life where you don't feel like you're constantly shrinking to survive. Healing is hard, but it's worth it. Leaving is scary, but staying in dysfunction costs more. So whether this video planted a seed or confirmed what you already knew, I see you, and I believe you. You are not too sensitive. You are not difficult. You are not broken. You're just someone who's finally choosing yourself, and that is strength. If this video resonated with you, don't leave silently. Like the video. Subscribe for more content on healing, emotional health, and self-worth. Comment with your story, your turning point, or even a word like enough. Your engagement helps push this message to others who are stuck in the same cycle, maybe even someone who doesn't know they're in it yet. You are not alone. You are not weak. And you are allowed to leave. And if you can't leave yet, that's okay too. Stay aware. Stay grounded. Stay with yourself, because the moment you're ready, you'll know. Until then, keep coming back here. This channel is a safe space for truth, for healing, and for choosing yourself every single time.